Thank you very much. So as being said, I will try to explain our living lab on agroecology and organic farming we have in Flanders. And I will explain to you how it originated, what kind of actions we do within our living lab, what kind of research projects, and what are the general outcomes of our living lab. So I'll start by sharing my presentation with you. And then also, I really want to thank the organization to give me the opportunity to speak here. It's always very nice to share our experiences. There are not too many living labs in Europe. It's always nice to hear feedback from people who also have been experimenting with this context. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to share them with me. It's always nice. So sharing would be here. All right. Can someone please confirm that my presentation is visible? Yes, all right. So the Living Lab on agroecology and organic farming. So as I said, I will tell you about how it originated, who is involved in it, what we do, and how we make it work. So what our management structure is. So first of all, how did it originate, our initiative? It started back in 2019. Starting from bottom-up needs, by which I mean that a lot of farmers, organic farmers in Flanders, had the feeling that the research that had been done for organic agriculture in Flanders was not really particularly based on the needs that they experienced on their fields. And the Organic Farming Union, Bioforum it's called in Flanders, advocated to the Flemish government and also to the main Flemish research institute, ILVO, that should be the case. And at the same time, there were some top-down needs. The concept of agroecology was increasingly getting noticed in policy programs. And at the same time, those Flemish policymakers did not really grasp this concept very well, did not really know what the implications could be at farm or field scale or for their policy programs. So they saw it getting noticed, but they wanted to get much more familiar with this concept of agroecology. And then at the same time, also a lot of NGOs were advocating to have more agroecological ways of farming in Flanders. So we have these three groups, as I mentioned already, the organic farmers and their union, the policymakers and the NGOs that wanted to work around agroecology or organic farming. And they reached out to each other and told that they wanted to create a new platform where there could be research projects based on the needs of organic farmers, but also where we can explore the implications of organic or ecological farming systems together with policymakers. So that's how it originated in 2019. So this means that it exists now for 6 years. So that's how we started. Then who is involved? So as you can see, we are with 4 in a core team. This is our, you could say, the management team who works at ILVO, which is the Flemish Research Institute for Agriculture, Fisheries and Food in Flanders. So it's supported partly by the Flemish government and also gets a lot of funding from European research projects. So, but we work mainly for our coordinating tasks are being funded by the Flemish government. And as you can see, I am the coordinator. I see to it that mails get answered in time, that we have weekly meetings with stakeholders, and that all the activities are being planned are executed on time. Then at the same time, that is Jo, who has a lot of experience with the Living Lab approach, has been in a lot of research projects regarding this concept, has a lot of insights, valuable insights on workshop methodology or general management approach within Living Labs, and also has some experience with research projects regarding agroecological production system, mainly arable production systems. We also have Hilde in our team, who is more kind of an expert in sustainability. Sustainable assessment. So there are a lot of assessment tools for agroecology at the moment at field scale, farm level scale, or at even for policy documents. There are already some assessment tools. So she knows a lot about these kind of things, which are increasingly getting important. We really have the feeling that ways to assess or to monitor agroecology is something that really is living within our Living Lab. No pun intended. And then we have Lieve de Kok, who has been coordinating a research platform for organic farming for 20 years. He's very well aware of the research for organic farming that has been done in recent years, and knows where the expertise of different researchers for organic agriculture is and in which research station there is. So that's her contribution. So we are with the 4 working at Ilvo, and our job is mainly to get it running from day to day. There are also some other partners who are quite involved in the management and sometimes take a leading role, but often we see that we execute a lot of management tasks, also because our stakeholders, when they are not funded throughout a research project, they don't really have time or motivation, I don't know, to put too much effort in our Living Lab. Only if you are from the government, maybe from Flemish government, they have sometimes time to join activities. But for farmers, other researchers, NGOs, we know it's very difficult to engage in management tasks without being funded for it. So we are the management team. Then the other partners, who are they? They could be anyone. There is no exclusion there. Of course, farmers have a very specific place within our Living Lab, but we try to include everyone. Some of them are more present than others. So as I said, there are these 3 actor types that were there from the beginning, which means the organic farmers and the union, the policymakers, and the NGOs. They are very present still within our Living Lab, and also a little bit guiding us within the development of our Living Lab, or assisting at least. Other type of actors that are less present within our Living Lab are, for example, citizens. Because if you want to involve citizens, you should do activities in evenings or through weekends, because they are working during the day and our activities are mainly throughout the day. So it's difficult for them to involve. And if we would want to involve citizens and do the activities in evenings or in weekends, we would lose other groups, such as the policymakers or the researchers, who are not always willing to do this kind of things. And then also industry is an actor type that is less present within our Living Lab. That's mainly because some of the NGOs are very skeptical about industry participating in agroecological research projects, because they really want to advocate for a transformative transition. They are very aware of greenwashing risks, and that's why they are very skeptical about the industry if they would radically do things differently. For example, if supermarkets are really willing to pay more for agroecological products, or if supermarkets really want to make from sustainable production a leading KPI at an equal status as price, for example. So unless these things are not done, they are very skeptical to engage in projects with agro-industry, and especially letting them use the words agroecological. that's also something we notice in Flanders, that, for example, because there are some NGOs who are very protective of the concept of agroecology, industry is more tending to use concepts like regenerative farming, which are less defended by NGOs in Flanders. So this is a little bit an overview of the different dynamics within all the actor types in our living lab. And then there are some partners who have a very specific role. We are also mentioned in the strategical plan for organic farming in Flanders. This is a policy document where the development of the organic sector is explained, and the strategy of the Flemish government towards it is also explained. And for knowledge exchange and research, we are mentioned in it with 3 other organizations. So as you can see at the top is Bioforum, which is the organic farming union, as I said, one of the organizations that was one of the founders of our living labs. They mainly organize knowledge exchange within between organic farmers. So if organic farmer would, for example, experiment with a new type of mechanical weeding, and wants to share his experiences from the experiment with other farmers, then it's Bioforum who organize the exchange event. They have very good connections with all the organic farmers, which are not too much in Flanders, only 650. Then you have CCBT, the other organization we collaborate with. CCBT is the coordinating platform of all the practical organic research in Flanders. So this means that there are different research stations in Flanders who do research regarding agriculture. Not only about organic agriculture, but also conventional farming. You have different research stations who are focused mainly on one type of cropping system. So you would have a research station for arable cropping, a research station for agroforestry, some for dairy farming, and so on. And on these research stations, often there are like 2-3 researchers working regarding organic farming systems or organic research for organic agriculture. Because they are quite isolated in their research stations, or they're relevant, there is sometimes not much relevance for the other researchers from their research. CCBT tries to connect all these different researchers and give them updates about the development of research, practical research for organic farming in Flanders. And then at the same time, there is us. We are the third party within this knowledge network for organic farming in Flanders. We have a good connection with conventional farming or the conventional farming sector. The other 2 are exclusively organic. And we also have a broad network of actors. So as CCBT focuses mainly on practical researchers and Bioforum only on organic farmers, we do not really exclude any type of actors. And we have a very good connection on the one hand with policymakers, as I already mentioned, and also with the EU funding systems. We are quite familiar with it. And this also means that a lot of the socio-economical studies that are done for the organic farming sector in Flanders are also initiated from our living lab, because socio-economical studies mainly are getting done in Flanders by EU funding programs or 2 PhDs. And that's therefore there is our platform to do this kind of research. So our focus is, although we do some practical research as well, is that we are exclusive, or our differentiation from the other organizations is that we have also a lot of knowledge exchange or research projects on socio-economical issues. And then there is another actor who is quite important within our network is one farmer we collaborate quite closely with. It's a farm located near Ghent in Flanders, which is about 50 hectares. And it's our experimental platform for ecology. Sorry. So the idea is there that we have a physical place where we can do some experiments regarding cropping systems or technologies, and that is done on a farm which is financially viable, which is also sometimes questioned by policymakers or by conventional farmers. So this is also a very good thing that we can say we do these kind of experiences, and it's also financially viable. That's a really good thing. And then the crops that we experiment, cropping systems that we experiment with are mainly cereals like wheat, organic wheat, or old wheat varieties, or rye. And then leguminous crops as well. For example, chickpeas, red kidney bee, yellow pea are the kind of leguminous crops we experiment with. And then feed crops, which are mainly grasslands, like definitely grass clover, but also sometimes with some herbs or with some alfalfa in between. So the idea is that we have temporary grassland for 3 to 4 years, and also put some manure on it, and then we have 2 years of arable cropping system with cereals or leguminous crops. The kind of techniques, as you can see in the pictures, we experiment with are farm composting, mechanical weeding, testing out the productivity of these old wheat varieties, crops, cropping, agroforestry, and then also strip cropping systems was the word I'm looking for. So all these kind of things are experimented with in research projects, but also just by the farmer himself, who is quite innovative. And this is also monitored by ILVO. So, for example, soil quality and biodiversity are monitored by ILVO. Not within research projects. And it's also quite interesting. For example, we noticed a decrease in, or like an increase in the acidity of the soil because it was quite acid before, and we thought that with improving soil quality, soil would get less acid, but didn't happen anyway. So now we will have to start tilling and plowing again, which is something we actually didn't want to do in our ecological platform, but there is no other way to lower the acidity by liming and plowing. So we'll have to do that. So that's also a quite interesting results that we got on our platform. And then we share these results every year throughout a big demonstration event where there are 400 visitors or so, from which 1/3 is a farmer, 1/3 is researcher, and 1/3 is a very mixed public, from policymakers through farm advisors to teachers at farming schools, and so on. So it's a very good mix of people who visit this demonstration event, and we organize this demonstration event within our living lab, and the advantage is that we can make agroecology very visible, and therefore sometimes attracts stakeholders we wouldn't reach out to otherwise. For example, the farmers, who are sometimes not the easiest actors to involve in research project because they have very limited time, for example. They do come to this kind of events where they can really learn something that can help them with their management system. And these kind of events are the events where we pick up new farmers who are interested in agroecology, and can talk to them about research ideas and so on. So this is quite an important event for us to keep in touch with the farmers themselves. So, and there is the website link also if you want to check it out. Then what do we do otherwise than organizing this demonstration event, which I already mentioned? Let me try to explain to you. Maybe starting by just sharing the vision that we have, like what do we want to achieve in the future with our living lab? It's a very abstract phrase, but let me say to you, we want to be a lever in transition to organic and agriculture, um, into more sustainable farming systems by, on the one hand, connecting individuals and organizations. So as I said, all these different type of actors that are present within our living lab, let them share information, knowledge, and expertise regarding this farming system with each other, and then discover sometimes the knowledge that we are still lacking in Flanders for the development of organic farming or ecological farming system, and initiate new research projects that can help us discover this knowledge that is needed. So it's quite abstract, but it's always good to have this vision and to keep it in mind when there are discussions what kind of activities we should engage ourselves to. So, but in short, we are a platform for collaboration regarding research and knowledge exchange. You have living labs at different levels. It's maybe good to just make clear that we would be situated at the macro level. So you could have living labs at different levels. The macro level is a living lab that connects organizations permanently and often also at a bigger scale. So this is the case for our living lab. We're trying to do this at an almost national level of Belgium. So Flanders is half of Belgium. And we try to connect them permanently. You could also have a living lab at the meso level. This means that you connect all these different actors throughout a certain period of time, and mainly this is done within research projects where you would collaborate together with different, according to living lab principles, within like 3, 4, 5 years. But you could also have a living lab approach at a micro level, which is during one research step or research phase. You could, for example, implement the living lab approach on the way you send out a survey or do one activity or one workshop or a series of workshops. But the idea from our side is that we are the one on the macro level, Flemish scale, permanently connecting all these different type of actors. There are the different principles of living labs. I don't know how familiar you are with this, but we try to always keep them in mind within our living lab. So as I said, the multi-stakeholder participation already several times is quite important for us, that we have all these different type of actors on board. There is some kind of orchestration or coordination, which is done by us. And there is some active user involvement, trying to keep farmers in mind when we organize our activities, which is sometimes quite a challenge because certain moments of the year, they are not really how would you say, available for research. So it's good. You need really a good planning if you want farmers to be involved. And also sometimes, definitely when you do socioeconomical studies, it's quite difficult to keep them engaged because it's not always immediately relevant for their management system. So that's also some kind of challenge. We try to co-create new knowledge, and how we do that, I will give an explanation on our approach later on. We try to do this in real life settings. So as I said, we have our experimental platform where we can experiment in real life settings. And also when we do more socioeconomical studies, we try to do as many visits or go to locations as possible. It's one of the most valuable steps within our approach, but I'll explain that also a little bit later on. And then you have the multi-method approach, which we will also see is also integrated in our living lab. There are also the 13 principles of agroecology. So as I said, we have the feeling in Flanders that the 7 lower principles, which are more focused on practical things like increasing biodiversity, increasing the soil health, reducing the amount of inputs, that there is already quite some evidence for a lot of things within this research. But like this upper half, like things like co-creating new knowledge, getting fair value chains, let farmers participate in policy development. All these kind of things are like less developed, and that's also the focus within our living lab. We really feel like these upper principles, the orange ones, are the one we need to focus on, and that there is already a good, how would you say, knowledge exchange structure for this lower half. And then how do we make it work? So our general approach, let me go through this with you. So we try to coordinate it, but have as much participation by everyone as possible. So this means that we have every 1 or sometimes 2 years a participatory workshop where we try to have as many partners as possible, and where we present them the research needs that we gathered throughout the last 2 years. How we do that, I'll get to that later on, but we mainly gather research needs because we announce a lot of calls for research projects within our network, and then people give their interest to us, and they share it with us. But we give them this overview of what we have done on the previous year, and also what were the needs for new research projects from every type of actor. We let our stakeholders select one topic that they want to focus on the next year. The focusing on a topic would mean that our knowledge exchange activities or our projects would mainly be dedicated to this topic. So anyone would know, like, okay, this year, unfortunately for me, but it's not a research topic that was selected by the Living Lab, and I will not get much support from them. Before, we had a structure where there was not really a topic. People could give their interest and they could collaborate on it, and we tried to coordinate it. And then you have like different activities, sometimes a conference, sometimes a study day, a field visit. But there is no real deepening of a topic, really grasping it together with all your stakeholders. And there is also there is sometimes nothing tangible at the end. You've had a visit, you've had an insight. All those people had this insight, but there is no publication or website or something visible that we can return to. And if we have a topic, we can really dedicate ourselves to having something tangible at the end. So that's why in the last 3 years we have always had a topic that was chosen by the stakeholders. And then we have different types of activities where there is some engagement for, that could be like having a field visit, sending out a survey, having a system thinking analysis, or writing policy recommendations, and could be a lot of things. So, and we try to, as a management team, we try to make a program that fits all these different interests of these actors together. And this program is the one that you see here below. So we had the kickoff this is the participatory workshop I mentioned already. Then last year we had participatory systems analysis, where we gave an update on the research that has been done. So the topic, I'm sorry, I didn't already mention, the topic we selected with all our stakeholders last year was collaboration in local value chains as a function of fair prices for farmers. So we had the idea that if farmers would collaborate more in very different ways, they maybe could get a better price for their products. And by collaborating, this could mean like inventing a new product together, like people who have farmers who have apple trees maybe decide to make apple juice together, or apple pies together, or for example, they could maybe different farmers could have a different type of products, but if they all put their products together and try to sell them together, they might get a better price. So we wanted to discover what kind of models of collaboration between farmers could enhance the development of organic agriculture in farming, because we had the feeling like if we can get fairer prices, then it might be more interesting for farmers to engage in agroecology and organic farming. But this maybe collaboration is a way to get these fairer prices. I want to deepen it. So, as I said, we had a system analysis on this. First, we had an update on the research that has been done, and then all our stakeholders together analyzed the issue. So, we identified different challenges, which I will not tell you this would take too long for collaboration, and we identified different opportunities. And then we had identified, together with the stakeholders, some interesting examples, mainly in the other part of Belgium, in Wallonia, where there were already some good examples on fair pricing collaboration. So we had 2 days of visiting, one time with a focus on examples that would be interesting for farmers, and then one day focused on examples that would be interesting for policymakers. Because we had the feeling that some things in policy could change that enhanced collaboration as well. And then we had some validation exercises. So there were some experts. So we had already some valuable insights through the system analysis, through the excursions, and we presented them to some experts in the matter and tried to validate these results. And then in the end, we had some publications like a magazine, which was focused or targeting farmers and other kind of entrepreneurs in local value chains. And then also a policy recommendation document that targeted really these policy makers and identified opportunities for policymakers to enhance collaboration. So we made 2 documents for these 2 different type of audiences. And we are also very happy to say that this magazine is being used in the institute where organic farmers are educated. So that's quite nice that they use the insights we have gathered throughout this process. And then at the same time, like as we are throughout this whole process of knowledge exchange, because that's what the upper half of this line was about, mainly about knowledge exchange or deepening and really grasping a topic. At the same time, we raise awareness about this topic within all the stakeholders that are present in our living lab. We are communicate a lot about, we had the system analysis. These are our insights. We had these excursions. These are our insights. We wrote a magazine. These are our insights. So there's a lot of communication with the different stakeholders about it. You notice that it's a living within our network. And then that different organizations feel comfortable enough to maybe write a research project about it. Maybe they are inspired, and mainly because they are inspired by the field visits or the excursions. So that's also really nice. And also, if you want to write a proposal, it's really nice that you already have this magazine or these policy recommendations at hand, where you can find the already text that helps you to write your proposal. So that's the thing. So here is the magazine. Just wanted to say what we identified in there is, so we defined fair value chains. What does that mean, fair? It's just such abstract concept. So we tried to find a definition for it, or an objective that we wanted to raise. So there, luckily there were also there was already some research being done about that. We shared that in the magazine. We identified different opportunities for these farmers or these entrepreneurs to start collaborating with each other. We identified also a lot of challenges that farmers can experience when they try to collaborate with each other. And then we made some road book for farmers and entrepreneurs. Like, if you want to collaborate, this is step one, this is step two. Like, think about this, and this might be an interesting page to look at. So you have a whole roadmap to start with collaboration, and it doesn't really matter if your collaboration focuses on sharing competences or on developing a new business model. There are some general things in collaboration that apply every time. So these things we put in a roadmap. And then we also identified some very specific legal aspects that are hindering farmers to collaborate, mainly about environmental laws or food safety laws that change when you start collaborating with other farmers. So we mentioned them specifically also in the publication, and then we gave 8 inspiring examples of collaboration throughout Belgium in this magazine, and we got like a lot of links, gathered a lot of links or websites or organizations that could help farmers with some certain problems. So we also made an overview for them within this magazine. So that's the publication, and then the policy recommendations as well. We identified different challenges that hinder a value chain collaboration. For example, like the lack of recognition of agroecology in policy frameworks, the lack of demand for agroecological or organic products is definitely one thing that could enhance collaboration between farmers, but is not really being done right now in Flanders. We also, made an overview on this legal obstructions for value chain collaboration. We said that collaboration needs coordination, and that there is a need to fund coordinators for local value chain collaboration. This needs coordinates, and this also sometimes needs financial means. Sometimes there is infrastructure needed, and this needs investments. So sometimes investment funding systems by the Flemish government are not really focused on collaboration. For example, for certain funding teams as a cooperative, you cannot get certain funding types. So we really identified these gaps also within our policy recommendations. And we also saw that there was a lot of different policy that has something to say about value chain collaboration. And we identified more than 30 policy programs that said something about it. And there was really need for integration. And I think that's such a basic thing to say, but I think it's always good to clarify really specific things that contradict each other in these different policy programs. And policymakers are very happy that we summed them up. So this is for the annual theme that we had, this topic that we deepened. We also have some general services that we provide throughout the year to everyone, which is separately. So you could say we are one thing is that we do all the time is being a help desk. So farmers or farm advisors or researchers can contact us if they are looking for a certain type of literature or want to be involved in a research project. They can always send us mails, and we'll always answer to that. So therefore we have a contact form and our email address, of course. Then at the same time, we have an expert database. This is the picture that you can see below. There are different type of experts for organic farming or agroecology in Flanders, and you can interpret expert very broadly. This could mean that a farmer can also be definitely be an expert. You don't need to be a farm advisor, but also certain policymakers can be an expert in different things. So everyone who works on and has some expertise in a certain topic regarding organic farming or agroecology is in this database, and you can find them. You can search, for example, on soil health and find different people who are an expert in that. But you can also find the different experts regionally, so you can scroll on a map and you can find the expert that is closest to you. Then we also have a library where we store all the knowledge that we have gathered. So whenever we do an activity, you can find the presentations or the links to literature on our website, of course. And we also facilitate a lot of research. So one thing we also we do and is very much valued by the stakeholders within our network is that we make an overview of all the research calls for organic farming or agroecology. So funding mechanisms at the European level, like Horizon Europe, LIFE, but also at the Flemish level, are being gathered in an overview, and we announce it to our stakeholders. And we get a lot of feedback on people like, oh, this might be interesting for me. Do you know another stakeholder that could be a good partner for it in a research project? They could look for Flemish research partners, but also for European research partners. So we try to assist them with finding the right people for this call. And then we have sometimes also brainstorm sessions with farmers. So when mainly when Bioforum, the Organic Farming Union, has the feeling that a group of farmers wants to experiment with something within a project, we have like a brainstorm together and try to get it clear and identify funding mechanisms for them. And then also something we also do always is just giving an update on what kind of research project there has been done for agroecology or organic farming. So we have an online or a physical event where there are presentations about certain research projects, and then we have some networking. So we do that every 3 or 4 months. We try to do it online and physically every second time. So we change it. One time online, second time it's physically. And when we do it physically, we try to combine it with a farm visit because we have the feeling that it's always very important to listen to a farmer once in a while, definitely. And then every 6 months, there is also a newsletter about all the research that has being done regarding agroecology in farming. So that's also something we do. And then the research projects we are involved with. So just to give you an idea, I already mentioned our annual topic, value chain collaboration. That was one big focus, but give you another idea on what kind of projects or things that are developed within our living lab or what we are involved with. So these are some projects we are involved with. So we have OFINE, which is about knowledge exchange with other living labs on organic farming within Europe. And so mainly the findings we get from the experiments in our experimental farm in Hansbeke, the platform. There we want to make a lot of videos about the results that we have from this research project there, and we want to share it on this platform with other living labs on organic farming. So that's one project. We also have BioLight Dier, which is about the development of lighthouses for organic livestock farming. So in Flanders, the problem in Flanders is that we don't have research infrastructure for organic livestock farming. So we want to do research at organic livestock farms, but it's not really clear what kind of contracts or how this collaboration could be managed practically. So that's trying to explore this something we do for the Flemish government. And then we have also a Cool Farm Lab, which is experimenting with different development paths for the agroecological transition. And there we are mainly also experimenting with strip cropping systems, also in our experimental farm in Hansbeke. And then we have some proposals who are still need to be agreed on. And this is Partages, which is about a participatory guarantee system for agroecology in Flanders. So instead of a label that you would like gain confidence in value change just to having visits together and agree on the practices that the farm do, but not really with communicating about the label. So we're trying to explore there to have a guarantee system for agroecology without having a label. So that's the idea that we want to develop. Then we have also Organic COP, which is a proposal about local platforms for processing, packaging, and distribution for small-scale organic companies. And then we have Nexus, which is the development of different assessment tools for agroecology in a way that farmers can use this information and in a way that all the data that is already being gathered by the government, also satellite data, geospatial data, that farmers can have access to this data and use this data in this tool, and that there is some kind of standardized advice for the farmer, that they know, like, okay, according to what the government's gathered, I've sown this day. According to the geospatial data, my crop was growing really nice or really bad, and then this would be the assessment of the soil quality in based on the data that you can get an indication on, for example, soil quality. So that would be the idea. And there we really want to explore the disadvantages and the advantages for different tools for the farmers. So these are kind of projects, just to give you an idea, that we want to engage ourselves in. And if we engage in it, it's never someone of the core team, the 4 people I showed you in the beginning, that's engaged in it. Then someone else is hired, or we find someone else who can be in charge of the project. So then we, as a Living Lab, kind of let it go. But of course, after some time, we ask them to give an update to the network about the development of the research projects to all the different stakeholders through with this networking event that we organize every 3 to 4 months. So that's it. I'm very curious if there are any questions, but let me just briefly wrap up. We are like a permanent platform for knowledge exchange and the development of new research in Flanders. Different stakeholders are involved, and of course, it's about agroecology and organic farming, and it's coordinated by ILVO. So that's it. And I don't know if there are any questions, if there's time for any questions, but I really want to thank you to listen to this presentation. So yeah, I see there are already some questions in the chat, but I don't know if there is time to answer that. I don't hear you.
Here, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You hear me here? Yeah. ¿Hablo yo? From this microphone.
Okay.
Better.
Thank you, Jorge. Hello, Dylan. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, don't need to hold it. Yes. Let me ask you a question. It's been a very interesting presentation. We see the amount of things that you're doing. We understand the fact, but I want to ask you a few questions about how to perform this and to initially let me ask you how many people in total compose your living lab first, and second thing, how are you organized? We would like to know if there is any kind of governance method, any statutes, any compromise that the farmers sign up in order to join the living lab. How do you put that in practice?
There is not such a thing like a membership fee or people that could be members or not. Our activities are always open access. You can find them on our website, and anyone who is interested can come. So we do not exclude people or ask a fee. Also, that would make it very we would have to put on a legal structure and need to formalize a lot of things. And we actually like the kind of informal way of working sometimes a bit more than having like a board of a governance board where we need to report to, or I think it's very valuable that we have a very informal contact with the farmers, and the how farmers are approached mainly is throughout these field visits that we have, and then we notice that there are some farmers who are more active and also showing up during other activities. But mainly if it's throughout the union. So not only Bioforum, who is the union for the organic farmers in Flanders, but also Boerenbond, which is the union for the conventional farmers, and ABS, which is the union for the small-scale farmers in Flanders. We have very good contact with them, and if we want farmers to be involved or get their opinion about things, or organize a brainstorm session to get the objective of a research project clear, then we try to contact them throughout these farm unions because they have a really good contact. There's sometimes we have very good one-on-one contact with farmers, but as you see, we are at this macro level, which is like at the national scale. We're talking about policy development. It's sometimes very far away from what farmers are interested in, and therefore it's not easy to engage them. I think if you are a living lab at the meso level, you are working about crops, strip cropping systems for 4 years and doing some experiments. I think it can be much easier to engage farmers than we do. But so that's how we do it. Mainly work through farm advisors, farm unions to contact farmers. Some farmers we have direct contact information of, and we do not have a membership fee. And just regarding our mailing list, or like people who are interested in our activities, we have about 1,000 people who are inscribed on our newsletter, and there are like 350 people who are interested to get updates on our activities, or get updates on the project calls, the different fundings that are possible. So that's about to give you an idea about the size of the Living Lab. So yeah, it's macro level. I think it's very different at meso level, but I cannot give you too much advice on that. I'm afraid.